Let's discuss Texas barbecue. Now, anywhere else in the world, you'll find that people generally stick some meat in a pan and throw it into the oven, and they call it barbecue. However, we Texans have our own recipe. And one of the main ingredients that I find that is typically left out is the wood chips that should be right on top of your coals. And when you do this, I would also suggest that you throw some quartered onions right on top of the coals, and this way you can get all your juices right off your meats, which is in effect enhancing the flavor of the meat all along. Plus, it serves another purpose as well. You've also got smoke instead of a bunch of consumed wooden chips, and very soon you'll find that you've got nothing but fire. And what you're really looking for is good quality smoke. I would recommend either pecan, or you might try some mesquite, which is like the basic Texas favorite. But if you're having difficulty coming up with anything that is either pecan or mesquite, try some good oak. You can find oak almost in any backyard around here in this Austin area. In addition to which, you want to watch the temperature in your pit. It might be a pit. You can use just any old pan and slap some foil on top of it, just to seal off so that you don't have any blazes, in which case you would have what I typically call a cremated cube. Yeah, cremated instead of barbecued. Anything else, Willie? Merci beaucoup. All right, are you ready? Okay, you've heard it. You've heard of heaven, you've heard of hell, you've heard of limbo, and you've got every book imaginable under the sun. But I'm telling you right now, I'm going to drag you to heaven with me, Phil, whether it kills you. Everybody else in here tonight has contributed, has opened up his or her pockets, and they have freely given. And what have you done? Do you believe in heaven, man?
Oh, I believe you.
Do you believe in heaven?
I believe!
Then Phil, where is the money? Show me the money.
Do I have to?
Phil, you can't have heaven without hell.
Do I have to?
Do you know the words of the Lord and Savior, Phil? It is easier to do what?
I guess give!
It is easier to put a man through the needle of an eye than what, Phil? You can't go to heaven, Phil. Open your pocket now.
This is painful.
I need some help from the audience here tonight.
This is painful. This is painful.
I need some help from the audience here tonight. Let's go for another round, each one of you. Maybe we can encourage this infidel. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Is this man going to heaven or what? Money. Give me the money. Not on the dollar.
Not on a dollar?
You know your options, man. You have made your choice tonight, son. Okay, there's probably some understanding in some of you what a turning point is in a movie. I'm almost sure that Verlene knows, but turning points are like significant things that happen within a movie that show you that the movie is going in a different direction. I want to share with you a couple of turning points in my life that have brought me to adult education. And one of them, and this may seem disjointed, but it really isn't. And it may seem as though I ramble, but I'm really not. Okay? The first turning point was way back in grade school. Miss Myrtle Thomas, English teacher. Okay? She let me get away with not doing a term project. Okay? And it seemed like a very simple thing, but it haunted me even after I graduated. And before she died, I went back and I visited with her. And I asked her, why in the world would you do that for me? And she says, I never had any doubts that you could do the work. And it was it. End of story. Now that's one item. But that shed a lot of, trust, a lot of explanation, that gave me a lot of good feelings about instructors in general. Years later, in 1995, I was teaching in adult education. I had injured my back, came out. I was a welder, came out of there. I went and got re-educated. And then I was working with adult education, and there was this one young man by the name of Robert. And I saw this young man. He was very bright, very lucid, very articulate. He was everything wonderful. And I was teaching him the writing portion of his essay, and he couldn't do it. Well, what was so wrong with this guy? Was he LD? No, he wasn't. But this young man could verbalize everything. He knew the language, he knew the grammar structure, he knew the whole works. But when it came time to sitting down and actually writing on paper, he would sit there. Now, Diane, have you ever seen somebody just sit there and just tears streaming down his eyes? That's what this young man was doing, and I'm like, what in the world is it with this young fellow? And so those two turning points, grade school, yeah, but the appreciation for teachers, and then the desire to help one young man that I couldn't, is what brought me eventually to apply at the agency. I applied several times, and then one day the call comes across, and it's Pablos Russos, and he says, hey, you can have the job, you can call me at the house, think about it over the weekend. And I says, call him at the house. He says, man, nobody calls directors of divisions at the house. This is the place I want to work. And so I've been here 3 years now, and I've had very little impact in adult education because it is a bureaucracy. But you know something? I'm going to have an impact.
You're done.
Welcome, everybody. This is our 5th annual Adult Education Conference. And I see that there are representatives from just about all 64 programs. I think, though, that maybe some of the people who are not here yet are about to realize that the agency Christmas is quite different from Christmas back home. Welcome to the North Pole. Our division director, Dr. Russos, is in fact Santa Claus, and we're just the elves. Now let's get to those presents. Every year, you notice, and I notice within the family structure, we've got different types of presents, some large, some small. Well, I have news for you. At the agency, we don't discriminate. Being nice, being naughty, they're all legal definitions. And I've got good news and I've got bad news, and some of you have already unwrapped the bad news. When you open up that contract for this year, and you saw that perhaps your budget is shrinking, we didn't do that. That's not my fault. I want you to know that we've got good news, but you have to work with us as we're working with you. There's a few pitfalls to the ACES, the Adult and Community Ed Management Information System. Yes, you do have to restructure your resources. Yes, you do have to put more emphasis on administrative money versus what? Well, we want to teach and we want to spend every money in the classroom. Folks, the war is over. You've got to start thinking in terms of we're working together, and this is a state-mandated thing. This is a federally mandated system, and by George, we've got it. Now, you know me. I'm Juan Perez, and I work with this division. I've been here for 3 years, and if you can't get your contact person to work with you, call me. I guarantee you that we're going to do everything we can to get you on track. Now, here's the other thing. We've got the system in place. It's being developed, and it does have a few kinks in it. But you know what? Those kinks are not anything that are going to stop you from inputting your data and your information so that at the end of the year, and when is, by the way, Christmas? It's not December 25th. What is it around here? It's June when you get your contract. It's July 1 when you know how much you've got under the Christmas tree. And so the only thing that you need to concentrate on today, as far as I'm concerned, is you need to go back to your local program. And you better start thinking very seriously about how do you want to spend next Christmas. Do you want large? Do you want small? Because if you want your money, and everybody wants to get their money, and we have for the first time the greatest opportunity now to increase funding across the entire state of Texas. But you've got to decide, you're going back home, you're going to change the mentality in all your people, and you're going to say, we are in fact going to input all the relevant data. If that doesn't happen, I guarantee you next year it'll be as bleak or bleaker, and you're going to notice the pot shrinking even further.